Hey everybody, it's Aisha White, and I'm coming to you live from the car. This video is a little less formal, I guess. Quite honestly, not that many of my videos are very formal. This one is handheld. It's on my phone today. Today, the first half of my day was spent in classes as part of this professional development, this series of courses that I took as part of my job. Is for 3 years, and then we receive a certificate. So technically I'm a senior. This was my third year, and I completed the classes, and we have a couple projects to complete, and then we get a certificate. So that's pretty cool. But I'm back now, and I've been running around, and I decided to go ahead and film my video today because I didn't have a chance to do it over the weekend when I was prepping for the trip. Truth be told, I recorded this video once before on Tuesday night, I think, and it was after a bunch of busyness and crazy stuff happened. But I wanted to talk about the topic of acknowledgement. There's a song called "Box Around the Sun" by a band called Misterwives. It's like a play on words. It's, like Sister Wives, but Misterwives, because it's a band of maybe 6 people, and the lead singer is a female, and everybody else is a bunch of dudes. So anyway, but the lyrics say, "Your presence gives me joy alone," and I think that statement, it makes me smile when I hear it, and when I heard it for the first time, I was like, oh. And as I continue to listen, that's just one of my favorite lines in the song, and it made me think about just that whole idea. And it's funny because this topic has been wandering around in my brain for a very long time. And that's kind of the case with a lot of topics that I talk about. But I'm just now having an opportunity to maybe put it down on paper or make a video about it. But a lot of my topics, they have been in my brain for a while. And that's the case with this. But the cool part is that, okay, maybe I thought of this topic, let's say 6 months ago. But at that point in time, the encounters that I had, the experiences were a lot different than the things that I've gone through in the last few months. And so I can apply this concept to things that have occurred to me yesterday, today, or the last couple weeks. And so it kind of gives it a different meaning. It takes on a different life. And I like that there's that flexibility with the topic. And so I just wanted to address that and say that I think that whole idea of acknowledgement is very important, and it's effective when we're talking about communication. So if you walk into a room, or you're prepping yourself to go into a room, whether it's a party or a professional setting, and you are not sure if you'll know people in the room, and you're kind of scanning the room to see if there's any familiar faces, it can be overwhelming sometimes for some people, because everyone is not able to freely go up and approach somebody and feel very confident about doing that when it's someone they don't know, or someone they don't know well. Acknowledging someone's presence is effective, and it's gonna do wonders for that person that may be walking into the room and feeling uncomfortable because they don't know anybody. And so it's twofold. It benefits the person who acknowledges someone, and it benefits the person who gets acknowledged when they walk in a room. And particularly, I can say in settings even with these courses, it's we go to an actual university, and we take classes all day, and we're amongst each other, and it's like you're going back to college for the week. And so after 3 years, you recognize the faces because you're taking classes with the same people, and they're from different parts of the country, surrounding states and everything. But there's people that you might not see but only once a year, or you don't see them but once a year because they're in other parts of the country. But I've connected with a lot of people on social media, and that's how we stay in touch. But that face-to-face interaction makes a difference when it's time for acknowledgement. So in this instance, and then in other instances, I've found myself at other marketing conferences and things like that, where it's not somebody that I necessarily would see often, but saying hello and initiating a conversation. And when you're walking by somebody, instead of just walking by and not saying anything, it's flashing a smile and saying hello, and stepping forward, and being social with that person, and maybe making a new friend or future colleague. You never know. And so I just wanted to give a few examples of the reasons why acknowledgement was important or is important. And I was thinking that acknowledgement makes someone feel good. So when you're acknowledged and you're walking past and someone's like, "Hey, Aisha," and their face lights up, that immediately lets you know that you're valued and that person's happy to see you. Because at the end of the day, everybody wants to feel valued. Everybody wants to feel like their presence is felt and that they're important. And it's not about finding validation or worth in what other people say or do, but we're all human beings and we want to feel valued in some form. And that just speaks to that when someone recognizes you and is happy to see you and they express that, versus walking past and kind of ignoring you or not acknowledging you, the opposite. And for the person who is doing the acknowledgement, you should feel good knowing that you are feeding into that person by expressing that point of joy. And you're going to smile at them, and it's going to be reciprocated, in theory at least. They're going to smile back at you, and there'll be some sort of exchange. And both of you will benefit from that positivity. But if both of you decide to just kind of like look the other way and keep walking, like that's your loss in that situation. So it's to your advantage to acknowledge one another. And when you don't acknowledge someone, what you could be doing is you could very well be feeding into negative thoughts that they have about themselves. Like, you never know what's going on inside someone's brain, and we're not responsible for that. But it's amazing what a simple greeting with a simple smile and hello can do for someone in their mood and just overall. And if you miss out on the opportunity and you don't, and maybe you were the one person that they've interacted with for the day, and you don't acknowledge them, that could feed into negative thoughts that they have about themselves. They may be feeling worthless, and all you've done is confirm it because you didn't acknowledge their existence. So that's just something to really think about, how your acknowledgement can affect somebody else. And then going further than just greeting someone, I know something that I kind of struggle with, and that's been the kind of starting point for this whole channel, is like the follow through. I've talked about it before, where it's like you go up and you say hello to somebody, but then you've got the responsibility of having a topic to converse about because you've stopped them and said hello as if you want to talk. And I know for me, I don't want to feel like I'm burdening someone. I don't want to feel like I'm burdening someone with the responsibility of carrying the conversation, which I know I've been in those situations before. Some people will take the conversation and run with it, and that's fine. But some people, you can almost feel it like they're gauging, like, how much do I say, how much do we interact? And I just don't ever want to burden somebody with the responsibility of having to carry the conversation. And it can be uncomfortable for me, and I don't know if the other party recognizes it or not. They might not realize that that's the case, but for me, I hate to have to put somebody in that situation. Like, I want them to feel comfortable and like we're equal parties in the conversation. And then also, I hate burdening people with specific topics, because every topic is not the most uplifting topic, and you don't want to get real deep when it's like a light conversation, because typically when people go, "How are you?" they don't mean like, "How are you?" They mean like they're expecting good and fine, and anything else is like, "Ooh, I've committed to full on like talk." And so I know that that's not what people mean when they say, "How are you?" It's like, tell me your life. And so I refrain from doing that, because I feel like I'll be a burden if I tell them this or that. And then, how some of those things that are like points of commonality. It's just a common thing for many people, like having kids or getting married or things like that. I don't check any of those boxes. I'm a 30-year-old unmarried woman without kids. Like, so scandalous, I know. And so, like, I'm out as far as conversation topics there, because those are easy go-tos. You know, it's like, how's the family? Like, I go, you know, I default to that. How's the family? How's your kids? How are your kids doing? You know, oh, how's the wedding planning? Or how is your husband? You know, all these things. And at this point in my life, those are not topics that you know, apply to me. And it's even like somebody asked about my relationship. I'm like, well, actually, because I don't talk to very many people just in general about my relationships. Once I was the one and only time I was ever compared to Beyonce. Somebody told me that I was really secretive about my relationships, like Beyonce. This was, of course, like pre-Lemonade and, you know, when she let the world in on everything. But, yeah, they told me that I was very secretive like Beyonce. And I was like, I'll take it. But anyway, I'm just not really forthcoming with a lot of information regarding my relationships. And so anyway, you know, if somebody's following me on social, then they would see my relationship and everything. And so they asked, of course, naturally. And she's like, yeah, actually, we're not together anymore. And that's awkward for everybody to, like, that's awkward for anybody to, you know, be like, how's the boyfriend? And you're like, not anymore. And they're like, oh. It's like, how do you transition from there? But I had to be like, it's like, you're good. It's fine. Like, I'm good. And she's like, okay, all right. And goes on. But like, even that's not, you know, light conversation to have. And so it can be a challenge sometimes. But, you know, it's going back to your points of commonality. And it's an advantage here that I'm surrounded by a bunch of people that do very similar work. We're all in the same industry. So you lean on that. You find what it is that's bringing this whole group of people together. So yeah, we can talk about casual, fun things, and I can ask endlessly about people's families and dynamics and all these things that they've done, because, you know, life's more than just spouses and kids. Like, there's so many other aspects to it. So I'm not saying that that's the beginning and the end of life for a woman, you know, but you know, you can ask about so many other things, but those are like the things that you lean on. That's like when you're at a wedding and someone turns and is like, when you getting married? Because that's like naturally what everyone asks. So it's like, you know, these are topics that you can go to, like a list. But lean on the thing that everybody's there for. And for me, it was what our industry is. When I'm going to these, you know, marketing conferences, we're all have the same goal. It's like digital marketing, and comparing our companies and like what we do and exchanging helpful information. And it's really cool talking to people and realizing like how similar your situations are, the differences, picking their brains for information. And it all happens as a result of acknowledgement. When you smile and you say, hey, a lot of the times you end up starting conversations and you'll make friends. And that's a positive, and that's kind of like at the core of communication. You want to be able to talk to people, you have to smile and say hello. You have to start there. So start there. Your presence gives me joy alone. When you're in the presence of somebody else and you see them, smile, say hey, let them know that you, like, literally their presence is giving you joy at that moment. I will say, and I've acknowledged this before too, I suffer from RBF, and that does not fare well when I look angry, and then when my facial muscles relax, I look angry, and if I hesitate to say hello, then I come off as maybe like unapproachable, and like just, you're like, no, I'm not even gonna try it. And what the other party might not realize is that I'm probably like super regretting it, probably overthinking it, quite honestly, but super regretting hesitating, because it might be somebody like, I don't know, that I recognize, somebody I know and haven't had a chance to talk to, and I see them and I hesitate, like, wait, do they see me? And that moment of hesitation, and we pass each other, and I'm like, dang it, I should have said something. Like, I should have. Why didn't I say something? And so that's what's turning over and over in my brain. And they're just like, well, that was rude. Don't know why she didn't speak. And it's not the case at all. It's just that I hesitated and I felt like it was too late. And then I started overthinking it. And now it's hours later and I'm at home thinking about you and how I didn't say hello. And how I should have acknowledged you. And how your presence brings me joy alone. I hope everyone has a good day or good night, depending on when I post this. Guys, I'm trying to be consistent. I had this whole conversation about consistency, and people were like encouraging me and whatnot, and I appreciate that. But yeah, this is going up end of week. This is round 2 of videos, because that first one that I recorded was it was frantic, I think is the best word. It was, or even not even, it was kind of melodramatic. I don't know. Maybe I am. Just maybe that's, maybe that describes me as a person. I'll go do some self-reflection. And I should probably end this video now. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Oh my gosh. I want to say thank you to all my new subscribers. It's been amazing. I get excited. Oh my God, your presence brings me joy alone. All these new subscribers, one by one, and I see it like pop up the notification. I'm like, oh yes, thank you so much. And I go and check out your stuff too that you have for anybody who is creating on channels. And I try to show you some love, watch your videos and like them or comment. But I really, really appreciate it. And all the eyes that are on my videos that I don't realize, because even at this event that the classes I was taking, people commented on the fact that I was making videos, and I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were watching. Thank you so much. And so I'm very, very appreciative of it, and I hope that the content that I'm creating is encouraging and helpful in some way, because that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be entertaining, but it's supposed to be informational also. And so I really hope that it's checking both of those boxes, and I hope you're not tired of me talking. I'm just really, really excited that you're here and that you are watching, and that you're engaged, and like don't you hesitate to say something. If you have input, if you have ideas, put it in the comment section. I would love it. I would absolutely love it, and I would love to interact with you. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.